Miller with a video, a topic. I've heard this said a few times recently, more than that, from an influencer, even from a local coach that I respect greatly. I'm just trying to figure out where this is coming from, and I get a chance to ask either, obviously not the big influencer, but local coach either. But I've heard this said now. It seems to be a new thing to say that bad exercise technique doesn't cause injury. Like there's no support that bad exercise technique causes injury, and it's about loading too quick, too fast, and but that so-called exercise technique doesn't make any difference. I want to push back on that a little bit. Before I do though, be sure to subscribe, like the channel, or like the video. You don't have to agree with me, but drop a comment. If as I'm going through this, I'm going to try very carefully not to produce a straw man argument. If you know where this came from, this idea, or if you have support that exercise technique isn't a big deal when it comes to injury, I'd love to see it. I'm just trying to help understand this. But again, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for all those that have already subscribed. Again, I've loved interacting with you. If you drop a comment and just ask questions about other topics, again, happy to do that. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so these are my impressions of this. Number one, if there's no proof or support that bad exercise technique causes injury, is there proof or support that it doesn't? Like, okay, if somebody says there's no support that bad exercise technique really matters for injury, okay, let's flip it over then. Do you have support that it doesn't matter? Do you have that support? Okay, otherwise, if you're going to challenge something, you need to bring the receipts, so to speak. Maybe they're out there, and that's why I'm asking. If they're out there, then I'd like to see them. The second thing is this kind of hits me as so many times people want to get attention. And I always joke that if you really want to get attention, and professionally, you either are first, so you come up with something new, or you're controversial. You say something controversial. And this feels a lot like, and I could be wrong. I'm trying not to make a straw man out of those that are saying this, but this feels like a lot of, hey, we're just trying to be controversial. I don't know how, and again, I'm trying to think through this. Let's say you do a front squat and you turtle back over when you're doing a front squat. Like you don't have the adequate range of motion to do this, and you have bad exercise technique, and you end up hurting your back doing a front squat. We could even put that on the back squat. You have a flexion at the spine, and I get the premise that, well, if you're doing that exercise, the load is just too heavy, and that's why you're not doing it right. And or even if you have bad exercise technique, it's just too much load for the technique that you have. Okay, but it's still supposed to be a back squat. Like it's supposed to still, or a front squat, it's supposed to still work your legs and not your lower back. So by doing the exercise incorrectly, you put the load in the wrong place. You create a hinge, a hinge in the lower back when there shouldn't be one because of your poor exercise technique. Again, I get the idea, like the load is bad, so that's why you have bad technique. So it's the loading, it's too fast, but that doesn't make any sense because the exercise is what it is. It's supposed to be a back squat done with a stabilized spine. So if the spine isn't stable, you aren't doing the exercise correctly, and that's how you get hurt doing a back squat. So I'm trying to like logically think through this. I kind of get the idea that it's a loading issue, but if somebody can't do the exercise right in the first place, they don't have the right technique, then they're more than likely to get hurt. So anyway, I just want to. I've heard this and I'm a little confused by it. I feel like it's a lot of just hype to try to say something controversial and stir the pot a little bit. I'm talking about it, so maybe it's working. But what I would contend is that do exercise. I mean, there's some variability, okay, and I'll talk about this in future videos. There's certainly variability in exercise technique based on somebody's dimensions. So long femur, short tibia, short torso, long arms, short arms, etc., etc. So that could alter technique, right? But there's still a way that the exercise needs to be done in order to avoid injury. Like if you flex in your lumbar spine and try to pull heavy loads, or it just probably loads even that are submaximal, you're more than likely going to get hurt. Yeah, I'm even I'm making this video, I'm trying to understand this argument. I can't wrap my head around it. So anyway, I'll quit babbling. I'll probably, maybe it'll hit me later, like I get the argument. If some of you have have an insight on this, and maybe I'm missing something, I'm happy to entertain it. But for all intents and purposes, though, there is an exercise technique that's right. Like if you do a clean, if you watch C.J. Cummings do a clean, and you watch, pick another athlete, a Chinese athlete who has different body dimensions, yeah, their technique is going to be different, but there are some commonalities that keeps them healthy when they pull a heavy bar off the floor, right? And that's kind of what I'm getting at. There's going to be some variance in the individual, but there's still some common techniques that need to be observed in order to avoid injury. Okay, that's all for now. Hope you found this video interesting, thought-provoking perhaps. Again, you can tell that I'm kind of struggling with this idea. I don't know where it came from. I think it's interesting. So I'll see you in the next video.